Hey everyone, how's it going? Today I'm going to do just a little small comparison between the Samsung Galaxy Prevail LTE and the LG Volt on Boost Mobile. I'm not going to go into a great big full, comparison between these two phones. Both of these phones right now cost about the same amount of money, and really the specs on them are close to the same. With these two phones here, it's kind of just a matter of preference. I'm going to go ahead right now and give you some of the specs of each phone and stuff like that, and we're kind of going to go from there. The LG Volt runs Android 4.4. It does have a 4.7-inch display at 540 by 960 resolution at 234 ppi. It does have scratch-resistant glass with corner and Gorilla Glass 2. It's got an 8-megapixel camera on the rear with an LED flash. Records in full 1080 HD at 30 frames per second, and has a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera. It can also record in 720p in the front. It's running a 1.2 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon 400 processor with an Adreno 305 GPU with 1 GB of RAM, 8 gigs of built-in storage with around 4 gigs available to user, and it will support up to a 32 GB micro SD card. It's got a 3000 mAh battery with around 24 hours of talk time. It is 4G LTE. Does support Sprint Spark enhanced network as well, and has I think it's Bluetooth 4.0 and all that good stuff. Moving on to the Samsung Galaxy Prevail LTE. This phone runs Android 4.4 KitKat as well. Expected to get Lollipop 5.0. It has a 4.5-inch display at 480 by 800 resolution at 207 ppi. It's got a 5-megapixel camera on the rear with an LED flash. Maximum recording is 720p. Has a 2-megapixel front-facing camera. You can only record in VGA quality. It's got a 1.2 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon 410 processor with an Adreno 306 GPU with 1 GB of RAM, 8 gigs of built-in storage with around 4 gigs available to user, and it will support up to a 64 GB micro SD card. It's got a 2000 mAh battery with around 10 hours of talk time. Also LTE compatible. It does support Sprint's enhanced Spark network. Also with Bluetooth 4.0. Now, the phones are sort of similar. I mean, it's really all in what you want in a phone. Both of them are really nice. You do get a slightly bigger screen on the LG Volt compared to the Samsung at 4.5 and 4.7. You got a 5-megapixel camera here on the Samsung, while you got an 8-megapixel at full 1080 versus 720p. And the front-facing cameras are close to the same at 2 megapixel on the Samsung and 1.3 on the LG, but you can record 720p with the LG while you are stuck at VGA quality on the Samsung. Whenever you're using these phones, they're just about the same, to be honest with you. I mean, call quality is good on both phones. The Samsung does have slightly better call quality. It's more clear, has more treble, while the LG does have a little bit more of a muffled tone, but it's not very bad. Very reasonable. The LG does feel more solid. It does feel better made, in my opinion, than the Samsung. It is lighter, but it's still a very good phone and a very well built phone, even though it does not feel as premium as the LG Volt. Reception wise, not the same really. When you come to Samsung and LG, there's not a whole lot of difference between reception. I can get full service outside of here with the LG Volt, where I've not been able to get full service yet with the Samsung, but it still gets sat with no cutouts, no drop calls, so really no issues there whatsoever. Camera quality, from what I have seen so far, the LG blows it out of the water. The LG has a much better front-facing camera, has a much better rear-facing camera, and of course with full 1080 versus 720, you know, camcorder quality is good on both of these phones, so it's kind of a toss-up there. I mean, you can look at two lower-end phones here, you know, that cost between $100 and less, and so I mean, you gotta kind of pick and choose which one you think's better and which one you like better. Your Samsung and LG, you know, a 3,000 milliamp hour battery versus a 2,000 milliamp hour battery. The big difference in battery life. LG does last much longer than the Samsung, but you know, it depends on how much you use it, if it's really important to you. I know there are some die-hard LG users, some die-hard Samsung users, and you know, as far as screen quality goes, both of them do look good. You know, 540 by 960 on the LG, 480 by 800 on the Samsung. The pixels per inch is pretty close together, so there's not a whole lot of difference as far as, you know, pixels per inch goes. Now the 410 processor versus the 400, this phone does run smoother. I got about the same amount of apps on this phone here as the LG Volt, and the Samsung does seem to be less laggy. I can go from the web, from a game, from an app, and it goes straight back to the home, you know, with no issues, no lag, no apps missing. As with the LG, it's got a lot of lag at times. The more you bog the phone down, the more it does lag. And it's amazing the difference between the 400 processor and the 410, because you're going from like a 32-bit to a 64-bit, and it makes a big difference. You know, when you look at benchmark test, you're looking at about 8,500 on Quadrant versus over 10,000 on the Samsung. N22 around 18,000 range on the Volt, 21,000 range on the Samsung. So, you know, the Samsung does perform better as far as smoothness and being able to do more. Both phones are able to move apps to the SD card if the app is available to be moved. Sound quality, as far as ringers go, you got your single rear speaker back here, and Samsung has really never been that common on low-end phones of having loudspeakers. On the LG, the speaker is on the bottom of the phone, so it does project out more than a phone with a speaker on its back if both of them are laying down flat on a flat surface. So sound quality to me is better on the LG than on the Samsung. You know, video quality, like watching YouTube or Netflix, about a tie. Not a whole lot of difference really. Both of them have 8 gigabytes of internal storage. Both of them have around 4 gigs available to user. The RAM seems to be used up a little bit more in the LG than on the Samsung, but it's pretty close together. But like I said, it's a big difference between the 400 and the 410 processor. Both of them are quad-core, and both have 1 gigabyte of RAM. So really, honestly, it's just really a matter of opinion. You know, you can go to my channel and look at the in-depth review of the LG Volt. I'm currently uploading the in-depth review of the Samsung Galaxy Prevail LTE. It's kind of a hard decision to make. I mean, both of them are really nice phones, and you know, it's just really a matter of what brand you want. If you want something that's going to be probably upgraded to Lollipop in the future, the Samsung's probably going to be the one that you might want to pick up. Not saying that the LG Volt won't get 5.0 Lollipop. It may get it. I don't know. I don't see why it wouldn't, but you know, you never can tell. But I do expect the Samsung here to get the 5.0 Lollipop upgrade sometime in the future. But you know, as far as, like I said, reception goes, about even. Call quality, I would say the Samsung is better. It does sound better. It does have better quality, in my opinion, than the LG. Speakerphone quality, of course, the LG does sound better, as well as music and ringtone output. Screen quality is about equal, although to me the LG does have a little bit better pixel density, and the screen does look a little bit better. Not enough to really tell though, going from 4.7 to 4.5 inch. So that's really about all I wanted to say. A lot of the messaging looks about alike. You know, I have the standard, you know, keyboard on here, while on the Samsung I got the Google keyboard. The dialing pad looks closely to identical on both phones. So, like I say, it's all a matter of opinion and what you like in a phone. You know, if you want the, you know, a newer, you know, phone that's just came out recently, then for $100 or $80 or whatever you can get it for, you know, you might want to pick up the Samsung for the better processor, the smoother flow of the way it, you know, the way it does, and the less lag. But the LG Volt is also no slouch either, other than the fact that when it gets bogged down, it does have some lag. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up here. I've been rambling along long enough. So this is just a little small comparison of the LG Volt and the Samsung Galaxy Prevail LTE on Boost Mobile. If you got any questions or comments about either one of these phones, leave them in the comment section below. I'll get back with you as soon as possible. Highly doubtful I'll be keeping the Samsung Galaxy Prevail, because I'll be probably keeping the Moto E 2nd generation, because this phone is really kind of so much like the LG Volt and stuff like that. So therefore, you know, I may not keep it long, but I do my best to answer all your questions that you may have. Subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Y'all have a good one, and we'll see y'all in the next video.